So watch this. Homie is melting. And he's melting because of who? Because of Candy O. All right? He just can't handle the fact that his, I think Nick Fuentes thought Charlie Kirk being offed was like the door cracking open for him. I honestly think he thought he was going to up his game and he was going to get to swoop in and become the dude that some of Charlie Kirk's fan base would look to. Nick Fuentes did. And instead, Candace Owens has come in and just ripped the coalition to shreds to where they all, nobody trusts anybody anymore, right? They trust, Tucker, and they trust Candace, and that's about it, right? Everybody is warring with everyone. They completely fucked him up. And here he goes.
And this, the right wing can never, ever forgive Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson for. They can never forgive them for what I'm about to say. Whatever you think about what happened on September 10th, whoever you think did it, it doesn't matter on some level. Whether he was shot or blown up, who pulled the trigger, or who was in Tyler Robinson's ear that made him pull the trigger, all of that exists independently from one very inconvenient fact, well documented thoroughly, which is that Charlie Kirk died that day, publicly, gruesomely. It was horrific. And people that didn't even like him cried that day, but not everybody. There were hundreds, thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of left-wingers. Their first reaction, seeing a young man, 31 years old, with a wife and kids, publicly executed, his neck gushing with blood in front of hundreds of college students, their first reaction was to smile and laugh, and then to celebrate, and then film themselves celebrating, because that's how wicked they are. That's how much hatred the left has for us, all of us. That's who Charlie Kirk was. He represents all of us. I didn't like him. He didn't like me. I didn't agree with him. He didn't agree with me. He thought I should have been censored. But the left hates Charlie Kirk because he says the things that we all basically believe, because he defended Christianity, because he defended white people, because he defended America, he defended tradition, he defended conservatism, he defended free markets and the right to own the product of our labor. In the broad strokes, we're all pretty much in alignment with Charlie Kirk. And because he was the face promoting those values, that's how much hatred they harbor for him. And we live with these people. These people are our neighbors. They work with us. They go to school with our kids. They're your elderly parents' nurses. They're your children's teachers. Their first reaction to seeing an innocent man shot in the neck, blood gushing from his neck in front of kids who came and brought the shirt and the hat just to see him and see him defend Christianity in America, their gut reaction, instinctual reaction, was glee.
I take issue with the word innocent. Okay? And what's more, I do not also, I take issue with this whole thing of all the leftists were filled with glee. That's not even true. I think a lot of leftists were merely reflecting on the difference between a world with Charlie Kirk in it and a world with Charlie Kirk not in it. Okay, and the net difference of that as to whether it was healing or not healing. But innocent? No. Charlie Kirk was aggressive. He was hateful. He made lists of professors. They targeted people. They lied and cheated and created fake electors for Trump. They bust the people to J6. They've committed any number of financial money laundering crimes. They've been unethical, liars, and abusers of the way they promoted the election, manipulative. They used mob tactics to attack the LGBTQ and women and people of color. Okay, they created hostile environments for a lot of marginalized groups everywhere they went. Okay, this guy, Charlie Kirk, did. And he did it all like using the name of Jesus. He did really demonic, nasty, devilish shit while using Christianity and Jesus as his cover. And he was living a lie. He was preaching to women about quitting college while he was married to a multi-degreed woman that didn't get married until her mid-30s. Everything about him was lying, fraud, and aggressive, attacky, undermining shit, trying to socially harm groups that were not white Christians, and he was getting paid millions of dollars to do it. So he was not an innocent person. He was dirty and illegal and crooked and harmful to society in general. And I think when you engage in that level of aggression towards society, towards humanity, that humanity often bites back.
They were happy. They smiled. They laughed. And those people are the sole beneficiaries of the conspiracy. That's all you need to know. The hatred that killed Charlie Kirk, the people that hated him, that celebrated his murder, that said his wife should have gotten it, those people are the sole beneficiaries of his death.
He's saying the same thing Hassan said, that like Candace did this conspiracy thing that is like helping the leftists. And it's true. It's true. It's like, you know, they tried to blame it on leftism, and now it's being blamed on his own organization, and leftism is completely not even connected to this anymore, except when Benny Johnson like tweets about it. What a bunch of fucking morons, bro.
Of his death, of the conspiracy that has discredited his organization, the conspiracy that divided the right, that got them off the hook. Those smiles should have been turned into frowns very quickly by the Trump government. What else is the Trump government there to do? Why else do we have it? Why else were we a part of this movement other than that? Where there were smiles and grinning and laughing, there should have been crying and the gnashing of teeth from those wicked people.
The gnashing of teeth.
The government should have absolutely crushed those people, deservedly so, because it's happening all the time. And we see it in our society. It's when the healthcare CEO got shot and famous people were celebrating. A father and a husband get murdered by a coward, shooting him in the back of the head because they said, well, healthcare's too expensive. So we're murderers now? So we support murder?
You see that, though? You see, like, they thought Charlie got murdered and they created a narrative of leftist violence, and then they thought that Trump was going to send in, like, the National Guard and just attack, like, all leftist orgs and get rid of leftist fucking nonprofits and get rid of leftist super PACs and arrest fucking Tim Walz and Gavin Newsom, and right? That's what they thought. They thought that the government was going to roll in and make leftism, like, illegal because of Charlie Kirk. And then Candace strolled in and was like, Erica did it. And ever since, they have been like, you know, they're now picking each other's pockets and fucking duking it out, MAGA v. MAGA in the streets like a bunch of idiots, dude.
That's okay now? An innocent man with a wife and kids, and not like that matters. He'd be innocent if he didn't have that. But an innocent man standing outside his hotel, shot in the back of the head by a coward. People celebrate because, you know, healthcare's too expensive. Charlie Kirk shot in the neck, blood gushing, people smiling and celebrating. Why? Because he voted for Trump? Because he supports Trump?
By the way, we do have to clarify about Luigi and Brian Thompson of United Health. I don't think anybody was celebrating the murder of Brian Thompson, or the murder didn't happen. They didn't think, oh, this murder happened because healthcare is too expensive. No. There may have been a few like rabid whatever freaks online or bots that were doing that shit. But the reality of people on the left was they looked at the outrage and they looked at, wait a second, why is there this outrage when somebody murders the CEO of this company? But that CEO was murdering hundreds of thousands of people by stamping denial on things that they had paid for. But because it was a corporation and a publicly traded healthcare company, all of that murder was fine. It was business. It was capitalism. It was free markets, right? But no, people paid you for health insurance. You need to fucking take care of them when they do that. That's what leftists were doing. They were like, wait a second. How come 100,000 killings from United Health is not murder, but killing one guy that works at United Health is like this crazy, heinous thing? That was the thing that people were looking at. They were looking at that incongruity between capitalism and corporations being allowed to kill with impunity in the name of making money, and yet anybody who were to strike back at that system is looked at as like a demon. And that disparity is problematic, okay? Because what Luigi did was murder and should be considered murder, but what Brian Thompson was doing at United Health is worse murder and should be considered like 1,000 times worse than what Luigi did. And it's not. And, you know, people are waking up to that fact. And they're like, yeah, that. This system, okay? That's what was actually going on, guys.
Because he wants a meritocracy instead of equity? Those people should have been annihilated. They should have been prevented from ever holding power again. That's what should have happened. And there's an alternate timeline, by the way, where Candace Owens doesn't exist and Tucker Carlson doesn't exist. And a week after Charlie Kirk is assassinated, we round up Antifa. We round up the DSA. We round up the far left agitators and activists and foot soldiers and donors. And we make it so that they are never able to hold power over us ever again. There's an alternate timeline where that happens. And by the way, there's a ripple effect. Think about the timeline. Charlie Kirk killed on September 10th. A few months later, we discover the fraud in Somalia, about the $8 billion these Somalis are stealing from us. We uncover the extent of this. We send Customs and Border Patrol and ICE into the city to clean it up. Who shut it down? When ICE came to Minneapolis to prevent these foreigners from stealing from us. The people did. And this is in the New York Times. They said Somalians stole $9 billion from Minnesota taxpayers.
By the way, the Somalian, that ring was being led by a person not Somalian. And there were some Somalian people that were involved in that shit. But that was years ago. Nick Shirley didn't discover that. He discovered shit that was already getting prosecuted.
And when the Minnesota Attorney General found out about it, the Somalian community said, if you try to press charges, we will accuse you of racism. We'll bring the DOJ down on you. We'll accuse you of racism and say, you're discriminating against us. This is the contempt with which these fucking people hold us in. The left and their foreign-born allies. We send in ICE to clean this up, and who stood in the way and prevented ICE from deporting these people or shutting down the fraud? It was the same radical left that killed Charlie Kirk.
Oh, dude.
That was chasing ICE through the...
Wait, Tyler Robinson was in Minneapolis? What's he talking about here?
It was the same radical left that killed Charlie Kirk. That was chasing ICE through the streets in cars, that was punching them and trying to attack them as they apprehended illegal immigrants. And that's ultimately why we don't have mass deportations. Think of the ripple effect. If we had held the left accountable in September 2025, we could have deported the Somalis in December 2025. We could carry out mass deportations without ICE agents having to cover their face out of fear of retaliation. We could deport illegals without ICE agents having to fear being sniped at or blown up at ICE facilities. Maybe, I know this is crazy, Elon Musk could cut the deficit a little bit without people setting Tesla dealerships on fire and blowing up Teslas and vandalizing them in the street.
You know what's so funny about this, guys? You see him, look at him. He is like, it is like the anguished oink of a disappointed child. But you know what I love about this, guys? It is so satisfying. You know why? Because when Democrats are in power and these guys don't get what they want, they're like energized. And they're angry, but they feel like they have a right to be angry because the Democrats, the leftists are denying them shit. But like, guys, they voted for Trump, who promised all this aggression and this chaos, and they voted for a fully Republican Congress. They own the whole goddamn world, and they've gotten nothing. Nothing. They gave Trump everything, all the power, all of the Congress. He's got the Supreme Court, and Trump has delivered nothing except looting crypto and fucking, getting his diaper scooped out by Natalie Harp. And they are like, they are so downtrodden that I don't think they're ever going to recover. Because Trump was like the meanest, nastiest, most illegitimate, most illegal mobster type person they could possibly put into the presidency. And once they gave him everything he asked for, he just completely forgot them and was even like, the Epstein files are a hoax. I'm starting a war. Prices are going up. There's not going to be mass deportations. I'm just going to loot crypto, and you guys, what are you going to do about it? Dude, they got nothing, bro. They got nothing. Like, I'm almost happier that Trump won because we're eventually going to sweep his ass out and rebuild, but him winning has destroyed their coalition. Because he won and he f***ed them all, and now they don't know who to trust. They don't even trust their own people. He's against Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and Candace is against Erica, and half of tpusa is fighting the other half, and Megyn Kelly's fighting Ben Shapiro's fighting Candace, fighting Nick Fuentes. Like, they are just a fucking dumpster fire of their own making. They got nothing. They had, like, this is our time. We own the goddamn world, and they're literally, the plate comes out and it's just a steaming pile of human shit on it with a note that says, thank you. Fuck off. Dude, it's so satisfying. Like, if Kamala had won, they would be so energized and they would be so like, oh, we got to fight back against this. But now, dude, they have no fight in them. They have no fight left, guys. They are just depressed and broken, and they don't even trust their own people anymore. They don't even trust themselves. You have people on Facebook that were decrying all war that are now like defending Trump and Iran. And they don't even believe it themselves. They're like going to bed like what the fuck am I even doing? I was just defending war today on Facebook. Dude, it's so good. It is like nobody could destroy them like Trump could destroy them, dude. Oh, I love it, dude. Fuck you, Nick Fuentes. Fuck you, MAGA. You shitters.
That's what we're up against. Don't you see the bigger picture? This is the evil that we're up against. So I hope that Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, who said he knows that Egyptian planes are real, I hope they're sleeping really well at night knowing that they almost single-handedly got the left off the hook. They got the murderers and communists and psychos that want a mass amnesty, that would blow up a Tesla dealership, that would kill any of us because we don't want open borders and drag queen story hour. I hope they sleep well knowing you guys got them off the hook. The left lives to fight and kill another day. The left lives to fight, kill, assassinate, rape, torture all of us another day. They're going to have another shot in 26 and 28 because of what you people did. And it wouldn't have happened if you weren't there. That's the best part. It's like the great man of history theory, but whatever the opposite of that is. It's like the worst woman of history theory. It's the idea that the will of one person can take history and move it in another direction.
Dude.
It's that cynical grifter, narcissist, Candace Owens, her soap opera, that alone, taking her platform and credibility and using it for this end, which has steered us in a completely different direction than we otherwise would have been going in. We would have been celebrating maybe that even though Charlie Kirk was gone, we held everybody that hated him to account, and we made it so they would never have power over us on the year anniversary of his death. And we'd be looking forward in the future that the DSA and the Democrats would not be able to destroy the country and our families and Christianity and the rest of it. Instead, they're empowered by this.
Yeah, they're literally like the mayor of New York, right? They're winning elections in Florida, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in fucking, right? In Nebraska, right? Dude, the DSA is walking into Congress with more power and more like eyes on them than they ever had. And tpusa had to rebrand, and they're essentially just not even effective anymore. Erica Kirk is a laughing stock, right? The manosphere, the king of the manosphere is in jail, crying and blocking people on Twitter, Mr. Andrew Tate. He's like getting ready to be extradited. Dude, Trump is like 50 points underwater. Dude, oh my God, bro. It is fucking like just literally been the greatest year and a half ever.
They're empowered by it because the right is fractured. Everybody hates each other. And nobody's looking at what the left is doing. So thanks.
You're welcome, Nick. Dude, let's a round of applause for Mr. Potato Head here. Dude, with the cockroach on his chair. That's it. Because they can't show up, guys. They're defeated. And Donald Trump used to be able to wave a magic wand and be charming, and he would talk about Epstein, and he would talk about gas prices and inflation, and everybody would be like, oh, we love you, we worship you, you're going to save us. And now nobody's going to save them because Trump fucked it all up, boss. Dude, I love that. I love that for them. That's what they deserve, guys. They deserve to suffer politically. They do. They deserve to be demoralized and to be, metaphorically kicked in the shins. And this is why the only thing they can celebrate right now is like Sophie Cunningham, right? Or fucking Royce White putting on a wig and pretending he's trans. That's all they got. Meanwhile, they're fucking charging their rent on a fucking Capital One credit card with 33% interest while their farm is being foreclosed on. And it's like, yo, fuck you, boss. Woo! Oh! All right. Dude, it makes me so happy. Yo, political punk here. I know. It's killing me. Seriously, guys, if you like what we do around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and turn those noties on. And I wouldn't be anywhere without the members. So if you want to hit the join button, we really appreciate that too. Thank you so much, guys. It's getting crazy out there, and I'm just really glad to not be going through this alone. All right? All right, keep your chin up. Let's go, boss. All right, fuck you. Bye-bye.